giant. Have you ever seen a CEO who rolls his R's more than Marcus Jooste does? Are the returns going to keep rolling in? In the studio in Johannesburg from Momentum Wealth is Wayne McCurry. And
pull yourself together now.
Craig Martin, independent analyst. Thank you. Is Craig Martin. 4 1/3% up. Last week it was under pressure. It was below 50 Rand a share. Above that funding rate of 52.70 today. Justified?
Well, look, I think the comments were directing you to a lot of positive news. I still have the view that it's very much fairly valued. And I think maybe just to emphasize, to get away from all the figures, because there's lots of moving parts, but just in terms of, we're talking about a 129 billion Rand company. So I mean, that's what we're buying. What can you buy with it? If you think you can get Woolworths, you can get Truworths, you can get Baspart, and you still have 10 billion Rand in change.
It's massive.
If you wanted to get Mr. Price, you'd have 20 billion. So yes, it's a big company. But my point is that, is management getting good growth on investors' money? I mean, you're talking about an ROE of about 12%, in fact dropping down to about 11 in this set of results, prior 2 years 12%, whereas Woolworths is getting a 46% ROE. And you know, I'm just wondering if it's the best place to put your money. Although the results on the surface look good, if you dig down into it, because there's all these different lines, a lot of it is from Rand weakness. In fact, if the Rand had strengthened,
they're champing at the bit to get in on this one. What do you think?
Well, let's bring in Johannesburg here, Lindsay. It's good to be back with you again in Cape Town, where the traffic lights take a long time to change, and so do other things. Let's just talk to Craig about this. Chief executives, we were just saying, Wayne and I in the studio, Marcus Jooste, one of the last great characters of the South African corporate scene, and the listed companies certainly. Leon Kirkenes disappeared from the scene, certainly lying low at the moment. I wonder if there's a bit of personality-driven interest in this company, because he is so flamboyant, and people do believe in chief executives that are attractive.
Yeah, no, look, so I think for most of their listing life, I think it might have been 99, and then he came on shortly after that, after Bruno Steinhoff stepped down in 2000. He's been running the show there, and there's been a lot of credence to their growth from his input. But he's really a financial alchemist. I think people give him a lot of credit for the way he's able to put deals together. And there's probably not going to be many that can fill his shoes in terms of what he's done in that regard.
Craig, when you look at Steinhoff and you say, right, its margin is only 12 or 11% compared to Woolworths. Woolworths is a 20-25 PE, Steinhoff's an 11 PE. Wouldn't you think that that's in the price effectively? And secondly, you know, earning money in non-rands is at the moment the name of the game. In fact, if you don't have foreign earnings and you're relying purely on South African earnings, you're virtually dead in the water in respect of earnings growth. What do you think?
Yeah, well, look, so bearing in mind you've got this Frankfurt listing as well, so it's probably going to be measured a little bit more in euros going forward. And if you look at these results in euros, they actually wouldn't have looked good. They would have actually been quite shameful. So from that point of view, I think you know, one's got to take a view on the Rand, and that's really what Steinhoff is telling us, that if you bet on Rand weakness, you can carry on, it's showing value, but if the Rand's going to strengthen, it's going to look a bit different.
Is the Frankfurt listing in the price at the moment, or are we going to wake up one morning, it lists in Frankfurt, and everybody says, wait a second, in Frankfurt and around the world, this is Steinhoff, let's have a look at it, let's go have a look at the books, and suddenly they see value there, and it goes to 60, 65 Rand.
Yeah, so there could well be a re-rating, and I think what they've done is they've grown their property assets by about 45% this set of results. So that property will probably continue to grow, and so they'll, you know, there might be a bit of an asset play in it as well, because you've got that yield of 7% or so on the property.
Well, looking also at the furniture sector, I mean, we've seen a lot of attrition in the South African market. Now, the global market might be different there, Craig. Isn't it time for a big clean out here of these stores? Just driving around, you see these stores, Ellerines, JD Group, Lewis, there are lots of those sub-brands underneath the big corporate brands. They look very quiet, a lot of depressed people in them, and they just have the feel of we're heading for the executioner's block, a lot of them.
Yeah, well, so look, the business model was never to sell insurance for many of them. It was selling finance. And so now that there is this pressure on the consumer, they're probably going to have to look at going back to their knitting or changing the model. And certainly there will be closures and perhaps some consolidation. Although over the years, we've seen a lot of these groups, Profer and Reliant, all been folded into the likes of JD and so on. And so there has been that consolidation. But now Illerines will be quite interesting to see if there's a suitor for that and what may happen, but that may well fold into different areas.
Now, Craig, just to expand a little bit more on that, I mean, how big do you think this, let's call it the unsecured collapse, for want of a better word, how big is this, the impact of this in the economy? I mean, I was chatting to someone over the weekend, and I mean, we could see 300 stores, 400 stores being closed by all the furniture people, and I don't know, 10,000 people retrenched.
Yeah, so look, we've been talking about it for a while, that it's been concerning. When I say we, I talk about many analysts, but we still see in the retailers' figures, the money's been there. But to put a figure on it, I haven't done specific research around it, but I do think it's probably top of mind for certain industries, particularly retail.
Craig, thanks very much for your time this evening. That's Craig Martin, who is an independent and